Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Vince Devall with Eagle Homes team here. I'm with my guest, the Invisible Man, today. Everyone say hi to the Invisible Man. We are talking about, Invisible Man and I are talking about goal setting. Actually, my partner in crime should be here any minute right now. Oh yeah, there he is. Welcome, Invisible Man. All right. Like I said, we're talking about goal setting. I think he's strolling it. We are live.
More.
uh, so we are, like I said, I'm Vince Devall with Coldwell Banker and the Eagle Homes team. Brad Brewer strolling in casually real estate late. That's how he rolls sometimes. Actually, let me rephrase that. A lot of times. But want to cover, we actually got to see a pretty sweet accomplishment this weekend. Two of our team members, Richie Lapine and Stephen Kovault, competed in the 2024 Fontana Triathlon. And they did the full tri, the Olympic style. So I don't know, I can't remember how many miles it was on the, I think it was a 1 mile swim, 26-mile bike, and a 6-mile run, maybe, I think it was. So yeah, so Steven's goal was to complete it in just under 3 hours. I'm not sure what Richie's goal was, and Richie was just over 3 hours. So kudos to both them for knocking that out. But it made us start to think about goal setting and what that means, and how do we get to where the final, where our goal is. So I know we're coming up on the new year. We're 3 months out from 2025. It's kind of crazy. And goal setting is it's kind of big for a lot of people, either professionally or personally. So, at the end of this, I don't know, I'm gonna throw Brad under the bus because he may not pay attention to the notes, but we're gonna share a couple of our goals, and either their current goals, future goals, whatever it might be, and what we're gonna do to achieve them. But Brad, why would someone set goals in today's world? Why is someone gonna set goals?
I think it could be for a number of different reasons. It could be motivation, just to motivate them to accomplish something would be one. I think would be maybe just to feel like some sort of accomplishment. I guess that's kind of behind motivation. So I would say that's probably one very big factor.
Yeah, I think motivation's huge. I think the other thing too is building confidence. When you set goals for yourself, may it be a financial goal, a personal goal, a professional goal. Let's say you're in real estate and your goal is to help 5 families in the first quarter, right? Either buy, sell, find a rental, whatever it might be. Your goal is to help 5 families, and that as you do that, you're like, holy cow, I just helped 5 families. That's awesome. Now what am I, what's my next quarter goal, right? So I think building confidence is huge.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. It's you always hear like professional athletes and even business people that are highly successful that the motivation they get behind their goals. It gives them that, whether it's sense of purpose or just they're highly competitive, and they just sometimes it's not even like, I remember Stephen and Richie, they did not win this weekend.
Right.
But I think Stephen was under his goal.
Yep.
I don't know if Richie was. I didn't hear his comment on that. I just remember Stephen saying, "Well, I beat my goal."
Right.
Which is pretty cool. That is a win.
Yeah.
So I think motivation can act in a number of different ways. You're trying to achieve something. So,
well, and I think it gives them, clarity and focus, right? So if you set a goal and your goal is to run a triathlon and you know that you have to swim a mile, now you have a clear goal, right? And you have a focus to achieve it. So how you get there, it's all relevant to set yourself up for that goal and breaking it down. But I think gives you a lot of clarity and focus on what that looks like.
Absolutely. So there is, with clarity and focus, I think it acts in a number of different ways for someone that's trying to achieve a certain goal. I know you and I are both. I know you're a morning routine guy. I think a morning routine, a clear morning routine. Go back to Steve and Richie, just kind of what started this. They actually obviously had training goals that they had to set every day and meet, and for the different biking, running, and swimming that they had to do. So I think when you have a goal, I think the clarity and focus comes into mind is what your plan is. And working that plan every single day, adjusting as needed, things like that.
Yep. Yeah. And it allows you to measure progress too, right? When you set a goal, it allows you to say, hey, if my long-term goal is to lose 10 pounds, or if my long-term goal is to help 20 families in real estates, whatever that goal is, you can now measure that progress throughout the term of that thing. Now, obviously,
So like setting little goals with a goal.
yeah.
I'm sure they had both, times
Right.
within their speech, right? So setting that business, like, well, if I get to here, then I get to here, I'm gonna close X number of deals or whatever, if you're in real estate. And then it's like, once I've achieved that, well, I want to do this in a month or a quarter or whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
the little goals, I think they keep, going back to motivation, that keeps you motivated.
Right.
Could be motivated because you're hitting them. Could be motivated because you're not quite hitting them.
Yep.
I think it can work both ways.
Well, and I think let's think of the big picture too. For those that work in corporate America, or for those that even set goals that are, annualized. So at the first year, you're like, oh, I want to save $10,000 so I can take a Alaskan cruise, right? Now, if you say that that's your goal over the length of the year, the chances are, human nature, we are going to break down. We're going to say, oh man, I may not have saved the $900 I need to save this month. I'll make it up next month. And before you know it, you're so far behind your goal, it's no longer achievable. So we talk a lot of times about setting what we call a 12-week goal, right? Break your year down into 12 weeks. I know there's 52 weeks in a year, but it's 12 weeks a lot easier. Typically it works out to be about 3 months.
It takes a vacation here and there.
Yeah, right. So break your goals into 12 weeks. So if your goal is at the end of the year to save $10,000, make your goal to save $3,000 in 12 weeks, and then figure out how you're going to do that from there. Is that, $150 a week? Is that $200 a week? Is that $300 a week? What's that look like? And then after you do that, you're going to say, wow, is that even realistic? What do I have to do to make this a realistic goal? So, one of the things I want to talk about is setting effective goals, right? We talked about, do we break it down into 12 weeks? Do we do it in a year? But in order to do effective goals, you have to have something that is, gosh, in my experience, it's what we call SMART goals in a lot of industries. Now, if you don't know what a SMART goal is, it's the SMART all stands for something different. So, what's that stand for, Brad? I know you know this.
Yeah, it's specific. So very specific goals. Again, whether it's a sport, or you're trying to meet a time. We're golfers. We set goals every year.
Yeah.
Golf.
I'm failing.
Getting your handicap to a certain level, getting, I don't know, X number of rounds at a certain score or below, whatever. In business, could be start simple with, very specific quarterly goals, like I'm going to connect with X number of people. That's going to lead me to X number of appointments and going to lead to this many transactions and things like that.
Right.
So very, very specific. Again, breaking it down, whether it's obviously you start with your annual, then, or, you can do longer, obviously, but then you break it down quarterly, monthly, weekly, just little things along the way. Again, it just kind of wraps around, to me, it wraps around to keep you motivated, keep things fresh.
Yep.
You're failing, huh? You're going about this.
I really like the idea of a 12-week goals. And the reason being is at 12 weeks, you reset. If you don't hit, if your goal is to help 10 families in, we'll say real estate, or if you own a small business and your goal is to connect, let's say you own a landscaping business, your goal is to, go door knock on 100 homes this week or this month. Like, how are you going to get it? Set it in a smaller 12-week goal, because if you don't hit it, just reset, right? Just reset, figure out why you didn't hit it, talk about it. But
it's a pace too of your what it is. Like, I think in sports, you may not be able to do 12 weeks because for certain parameters you're trying to achieve a run.
Right.
For instance, Richie and Steven, they decided to do this triathlon at a certain time. They probably didn't have a year.
Right.
We don't have 12 months of golf in this state.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff. Business, I think that makes a ton of sense because it is always annual. It seems like in any profession, you're always measured annually.
Correct.
For whether it's from a boss, yourself, or the company or whatever.
Yep.
There's those annual measurements. I love the 12-week.
And I think that's where companies a lot of times fail. I mean, I worked in healthcare for a long time, and it was always a push right at months 10, 11, and 12 from corporate America to say, hey, we need to get another 500 patients in this quarter to hit our goals. Well, is that realistic? If you were only doing 200 a quarter because that's what you were doing, and now you have to hit this annual goal, you're like, all of a sudden it puts a unwanted stress on your staff, on you as a boss, right? So I think people, no matter what, should break this down for, just to better understand their business.
Yeah, and I think there could be a negative about also, I like the 12-week, especially in business. I think there can be a huge I'm gonna throw my former company way on the rolling bus right now.
Right.
It was one thing that used to frustrate me when I was screw it, I'll say it. I was corporate manager for Verizon Wireless in the business channel, and we got to the point where we were taken over by the retail channel. Well, in business, there's uncovering your client's needs first of all. Then it's preparing what are possible solutions. I mean, just sell cell phones in the business channel. There was all kinds of different wireless data connections for monitoring, for measuring, for different things like that. I can't go into detail. So my clients really with federal government and state government, but things like that. Whereas, and then you can get beat up. Like they used to have kind of towards the end of my days, they would have daily forecasting and measuring calls. You're dejecting people, especially in the business channel, who cares? You target you get your commission or bonus every month. You work your meetings, which you can take months to complete a transaction.
Right.
So stop measuring people on daily because they're going to fail more days than they're going to succeed. So you should be focused on what's important, which is those quarterly objectives, maybe monthly to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Do you want to check in monthly? Yeah, we check in monthly in real estate. All right, here's my quarter goal. How do I do this month?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm behind, okay, it motivates me I got to step it up the next 2 months, right? So I think there's some positivity there, but daily, I think you're getting beat up too much.
Yeah. And I think it's, we'll use real estate for example. I think the next thing is for anything, right? Asking the question on why you didn't hit that goal. Is that goal still specific enough? The next question, how measurable is it? So that's your app, measurable. Correct. You want your goals to be measurable. So, we'll say for, Brad's example, when he was working for Verizon, if he had to call 10 clients a day and have meaningful conversations with them, that's a measurable goal, right? Meaningful conversation means more than a couple minutes long. It's not just, hi, how are you? I'm Brad. Bye. Right. It's trying to uncover their needs, wants, whatever it might be. From a, think about a personal side of things. Like if your goal is to lose 50 pounds this week or this month, this week, holy cow, that'd be awesome. Like, how are you going to get there? How are you going to measure it? Right. Is it my goal of 50 pounds this month is to lose 1.5 pounds a day, or, and then how am I going to get there? Right. How are we going to make it achievable? So it's gotta be measurable, and it's gotta be a realistic measure. You can't say I'm going to, we talk about it in real estate all the time. I want to double my business next year. Well, if you're doing 10 million, that's $20 million. Is that realistic? Yeah. How busy were you this year that you did 10 million, and how'd that make you feel? Right.
Right. I think that ties right into the next one.
Yeah.
Which is achievable.
Yep.
Like, you want to stretch yourself? Absolutely. But you also want to kind of set a goal that is achievable, for our Richie and Steven example. I think Steven's goal is coming in 3 hours, which he did.
3 hours. Yep.
Okay. Well, if he would have set an unrealistic goal and said, well, I want to come in under 2 hours, that would have been, well, stupid, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't know how to achieve that. He knew that. He knew, well, 3 hours is gonna be a challenge. And yet he did it.
Right.
And then there's a positive there, because then if you beat it, and you beat it by a lot, well, it's like, okay, well, wow, I did way better than, there's that positiveness to it,
Yep.
that positive energy, which I think is super important.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So it's got to be an achievable goal. If it's not, like you said, if he said 2 hours and he didn't do his homework and go, wow, 2 hours isn't at an Olympic pace, I better, I better reevaluate what I'm doing, because I don't do this full time.
so I have a question around this one, the achievable with you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, because you made a comment.
I failed at my golf
I'm
goal.
failing your golf
Yeah.
goals so far this year. Do you think you put your measurables at a too lofty that could be achieved?
No, I think I didn't set the right expectation on how to get there.
Okay.
So I, should have said, hey, in order to achieve this, not only do I have to play once a week, but I have to commit to going out and working on my short game once a week, or my putting once a week. So, even though we have achievable goals and measurable goals, we have to set, right? We have to be able to set how we're going to get to that goal, right? And that we'll get to this point of it in a minute here, but
Yeah.
I don't think I set myself up for success by breaking it down and saying how I'm going to get there. So Steven and Richie said, I'm going to run a triathlon, and I'm going to do it in 3 hours. In order to get there, every Monday, I am going to swim a half a mile to start the first month, right?
So when we get to that point and later here, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
it's you sharing, but I am only doing it because you put out the thing like I didn't. I'd like you to break down what you could change to do that as the great example.
Yeah. Well,
You can do a business example, just you put the golfing out there. So I thought.
no. And like, so
And I don't think we can speak to Richie and Stevens breaking it down.
no, well, let's finish the SMART framework.
Okay. I would love to. I'm fat.
Yeah.
I'm always super fascinated by process. Process super intrigues me.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm like, he said it. I'm like, okay, well, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
being a playing partner most of the time, there's the things that I can also, what's also important is what? Accountability partners.
Yeah.
Richie and Steven had accountability partners.
exactly.
That's how the third gentleman,
Luke ran with them.
they
One of
had,
the
so
good
there was
friends.
3 of them, they could be each other's accountability partner. Well, like be your accountability partner, give me a breakdown. We'll,
Yep.
I'll
So
beat you up for the next 45 days.
So in the SMART goals, your goal also has to be relevant, right?
Yes.
It can't be something that is unrelevant to really what you want to do. So if you have bad knees and bad hips, can you make a goal to run 2 miles a day to start your training? No, that's not a relevant goal. I mean, it's relevant but not realistic. So there's those two that got to be tied together. They got to be relevant and realistic to get to your long-term vision. So maybe you're going to walk a mile every day, then you're going to jog a mile, then you're going to run a mile, then you're going to go to a mile and a quarter, right? Slowly push yourself to a new limit.
In business, the average real estate agent sells 4 properties a year. Now that's a cumulative of like, the whole 80-20 rule, part-time agents, all that kind of stuff. But if you're someone that's notoriously sold 5 or 6 houses a year, does it make a whole lot of sense to all of a sudden say, well, I'm going to sell 30?
Yeah.
Is that relevant?
Right.
Probably not, unless something in your measurable, something in your life or your business significantly changed. Otherwise, that's not relevant.
Right.
So,
Well, and like think of a small business. For all you small business owners out there, if you say, hey, this next year I want to increase my revenue by 1.5 times. Well, how are you going to get there? You still have the same number of people coming in the door. Raising prices may not be the answer. Maybe bringing in a new product, maybe showcasing at farmers markets. If you're a small business, maybe you said, hey, in order to do this, I'm going to spend every Thursday at the Burlington Farmers Market and showcase my product and try to get people in my door. Now, so you got to make those goals achievable, relevant, and realistic. The next biggest thing is the T in SMART. So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and lastly, time bound. Okay. So if you say, hey, I'm going to do this in the next 5 years, well, that's you have to make it a little more realistic, because we all procrastinate.
Yeah.
Human nature, we procrastinate. So
I think for business, even a lot of your personal goals, I love the annual. I think you got to keep the annual and and you're quarterly.
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
Yep.
Though I do a thing every year where I do a 1, 3, and 5 year.
Yeah.
So what I do there is I said, all right, and I treat it like this. All right. It's a goal. They're goals as far as what would I like to see in my business and my personal life in 5 years. And then I do the same thing for 3 years. And the point of those two is I go, all right, to get to here in 5 years, this is where I need to be in 3 years. And then the 1 year gets then more specific to be, okay, well, I'm going to be here in 3 years. I have to be here in a year. And then that starts down to the 12-week and the month and things like that and those daily activities. So that's a great time bound, is breaking it that way.
Yeah. And time bound also has to be a little, remember, it's got to be specific. So if it says, if you want to close, it's like, I want to close more deals this month. That's not specific.
No.
If you say, I want to close 3 deals next month, that's specific. How do you get there is the next challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when we're setting goals, we want to make sure that what we do when we get to these goals, like, what are we doing? How are we setting the goals? How are we holding ourselves accountable? What are you doing to break it down? Things like that. And, I'll give you a great example. You asked me, I'll answer. I didn't achieve my goal this year, and I don't foresee myself achieving it. But it's just like anything else. You have to set smaller tasks. You have to say, okay, hey, I am going to focus on putting. I am going to putt every night in my basement, or 3 times a week in my basement for 20 minutes.
So share, what were 2 or 3 of those?
So, well, I didn't set those small goals. That was my problem.
That was your problem.
I didn't break my big goal down to achieve it.
What were your 2, 3 big goals?
My big goal for golf was 7.9% in the 7.9 handicap.
Okay.
And I'm at a 9.9 is my low index, but my goal is to hit a 7.9. And it's, that means I am breaking 80 consistently. And when you shoot a 92 or a 96 or a 104, a little harder.
Depending on the course rates, like
I know
you're shooting 77 to
83,
84
based on handicap, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I need to break it down and realize, what do I need to do to get to that goal? I need to set tasks that are going to help me achieve that goal. So, is it putting once a week? And for a business person, let's say it's real estate. Let's spin this, or even, someone that's a business to business. If you're business to business, your goal should be, hey, I'm gonna talk to 5 clients this week. I'm gonna talk to 5 new clients, and I'm gonna follow up with 5 more, and then I'm gonna have a lunch date with 5 other clients, past clients, right?
Tom Ferry 554.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just pulled that out of my butt.
It's a standard thing Tom Ferry does. He's a real estate coach, for those that don't know. We've referenced him occasionally during this podcast. Just a very simple, if you don't really know, especially new agents, like, all right, what do I want to do? All right, I'm gonna try and talk to 5 people brand new today. I'm gonna try and talk to 5 people that are in my database or that I know. Could be a past client, could be a current client, could be just a friend, whatever, from your sphere. And then I want to try and set for, I wouldn't call them appointments, I call them engagements.
Yeah.
Coffee, maybe it is an appointment. Maybe it's go meet with your sphere and give them an equity report. Say, hey, by the way, this is about how much equity you have in your home right now.
Yeah.
Saying something of value that you're meeting with somebody. That's the old 554.
Yeah, I like it.
There's a 2 that was added, I never.
What's the 2?
It's like 2, drop.
2 hours of prospecting? I don't know.
No, it's something along the lines of still communication.
Yeah. So the next one too is stay flexible. Excuse me. So as you're hitting your goals, if for some reason you have to pivot that goal, you have to move it a little bit. That's why I like the 12-week year, because if your big goal is, to help 20 families this year, and after the first 12 weeks, you're only at 1 family, you're like, all right, am I going to be able to help 19 families in the next 9 months? Maybe not. Let's pivot our goal. Let's change it to 18, right? Be flexible in what your goal is, so that it still feels like it's achievable to you. Because if it's not, you're screwed.
I have an example of this one.
Great, go.
So 4 years ago, when I made a major stride on the personal, which is my golf handicap. I was just talking to somebody this the other day, that yes, I played more, but I also practiced more. Like I would actually get up about 3 days a week. I would just go to the course and just be on the range, not play,
Right.
like literally go have a practice session. And I would take like certain days, go to break it down. I would be like, no, today I'm just going to take my 4 and 5 iron. That's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Say I'm just going to work around the green chipping. I haven't really done that this year. I want to do it again this year, but we got busy with work.
Yeah. Yes.
Like we've had a very, very busy year with the team, our own businesses, our own, so, which is great. But that impacted another goal. So I've tried to, stay flexible in how I'm doing.
Right.
Okay, so the day I'm playing, go an hour earlier and get that practice in.
Yeah.
Just spend extra time on the range, or extra time chipping, or extra time putting, still working those things, but I'm moving, instead of having that separate practice session, just move there. Not done a great job at it, not gonna lie. But I've done it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not so much I want.
Life gets in the
But
way.
that's how you gotta be flexible and adjust is, all right, can't do it this way. I know Steven with 2 and I think 2 kids.
2 kids
Yeah.
currently. They're on the
know,
way.
And before school just went into session, boy, I'm sure he had to do a lot of flexibility with his training.
Oh, I agree. Yep.
You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And the next one, finding an accountability partner. Find somebody that's going to help hold you accountable. Steven and Richie had each other, and Luke. The team, like I think we do a good job at trying to help each other stay accountable on certain things. Sometimes it feels like we're nagging. Other times it feels like we're, trying to be supportive. But you got to have someone that's going to hold you accountable and call you out when you're failing, right? Or not doing it. Because if you don't have someone that's going to give you that little push that you need, you're not gonna be good at achieving your goals.
Exactly.
So,
I know when you're behind on the business this year, well, with that one.
oh yeah, no, I'll probably lose that one. The last one is celebrate small wins. Celebrate small wins. So, if your goal as a individual real estate agent is to have 20 conversations this week with new, potentially new people, celebrate that win. If you hit that by Thursday, celebrate that win. Give yourself a pat in the back, because that is going to help boost your morale. It's going to help boost and keep you motivated. And it's huge. Or if, you just closed your biggest deal, whatever it might be, maybe, from a business to business, maybe in real estate. Heck, maybe your goal is to, lose 20 pounds in a month. Celebrate that win, whatever it is. Go out and buy yourself a new pair of pants. Go out and I'm not going to say go out and buy yourself a bunch of ice cream, because that might contradict what you just did.
Good, yeah. Little things too, like if you're new in your industry and you completed a task with less errors than you did before, or you had some errors, now you have no errors, right?
Yeah.
Which happens.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate that, and if you're a team leader like we are, or if you're a boss of someone that just did that, celebrate that. Tell them, like, great job. By the way, you had no errors this time.
Yeah.
So this little stuff like that, you can do it 100 different ways. Yeah, don't celebrate the fat kid losing weight and give him ice cream. It's
So, Brad, let's throw it out there. What's a couple of your personal and professional goals before we wrap up here, that
Sure.
you'd like to achieve before the end of this year? So we have 12 weeks approximately.
I kind of thought about this the other day. I don't have the number, otherwise I would share it anyway, because that's still personally that's work. I decided I want to have my best fourth quarter ever.
Okay.
I gotta look up what that is. I think I know what it is, but I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
Which would ensure that I've also had it'll be close. It might not be my best year ever, but it's gonna be close.
Okay.
So it might be both of those.
All right.
Also, sorry, all to my past clients in Sphere, I want to get myself in the right activity mode for next year. Is I want to hit my quarterly objectives as far as reaching out and just communicate with people, engagement. So client engagement, personal. I think what's my handicap goals? 4.9.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm gonna hit 4.9. I'm at 6.1. Happy about that. I've never been in the fives. I'd really like to get,
Oh yeah, you're close.
I'd really like to get,
Okay.
and I say get into the fives, if I'm already at 6.1, that's one round this week from getting in there.
Yep.
So I really like to get down to like 5.5. I would love that. So that's a little thing. And then I want to improve my greens and regulation. So I'm doing personal stuff because it's and then I'm not gonna share, but I have a savings goal. I'll hit.
Okay. So I'll go to mine real quick. I have 3 that I'd like to hit before the end of the year. I would actually like to help 7 more families that I'm not currently working with. Either help buy a home, sell a home, or find a rental property. Okay. 7 more families. Also, this sounds really silly, but just 10 pounds. I'd like to lose 10 pounds this year. I have always set unachievable weight loss goals. And so mine is 10 pounds before the end of the year. I feel like that is then achievable. I'll feel like it's a win, and then I'll start the year off kind of full head of steam. And then my last goal, which is also a little more on the personal side, well, personal and professional side, is I'd like to give back an extra $5,000 to Homes for Heroes clients. So that means I'm helping probably 1 to 2 more Homes for Heroes clients. Homes for Heroes is a program that gives back to, military, firefighters, police officers, things like that, when they use me to buy or sell. So it's a little bit, it's tied into that 7 people that I want to help. But this year I'm on pace to give back about $25,000. So I'd like to hit $30,000 in the Homes for Heroes program. So yeah, yep. Awesome. Well, I'm Vince Devall with Eagle Homes, powered by Coldwell Banker.
And I'm Brad Brewer, also with the Eagle Homes team with Coldwell Banker. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yep, sounds good. Bye.